Random House just told us that Dan Brown's sales were 5%, I believe, of the total are in ebooks. And that's a nice number, but it's not a blowaway number. But when Dan Brown's sales are 30% in ebooks, and every other major authors are 30% in ebooks, and how far away could that be, right? A year, 2 years, 3 years? Not more than 3 years. Okay? So if it's 30% in ebooks, and I could just sell those off my own website and keep 100% of the money because everybody's coming to me because I'm a famous author, then the publisher's value proposition is seriously threatened. Now, I've talked to all the CEOs, or most of the CEOs of major publishers, and they say, well, we're not, if we don't get the ebook rights, we're not interested in the print book rights. But the problem is, that's not going to look that way, because when 30% of the sales are ebooks, then only 70% of the sales are print books. And we got a warehouse that we have to feed, and we have a sales force that we have to feed, and we have a production department that we have to feed, and we have contracts with printers where we've committed to a certain amount of printing. So we can't actually just let big print stuff go very readily. Okay, then, so you have the dim future for the bookstores, and I talked about the fact that they're pinched at both ends, and you're bound to have continuing consolidation of general trade. What I'm describing is that the general trade is the most challenged part of publishing. They're the one. Hay House does not have the marketing expense that Random House has, because Hay House has 1 million email addresses, and every one of those people is interested in every single book they do. And they don't have to go to a newspaper, and they don't have to get some outside blogger, and they can promote to their own audience, and they can do it for free. And so gradually, you're going to start to see those companies more effectively marketing most of the books, or many of the books, than the big trade publishers, and marketing them for less money. So the general trade's going to consolidate. And there's a big 6 today. There will not be a big 6 4 years from now. There may be a big 4. And 10 years from now, there may be a big 2. And that's the world that we're in. Okay, that doesn't mean that everybody disappears, but it does mean that we're going to see continuing consolidation in general trade. And we're going to see an increase in direct publisher-to-consumer contact, which is part of the reason that general trade has a problem, because it only makes sense to have direct contact with the consumer if you have a proposition to offer the consumer which is vertical, which is subject-specific. Because if what you're doing is publishing for big markets, and you're not really expecting the same consumer to buy the book you publish today and the book you publish tomorrow and the book you publish the next day, it's much harder to have a coherent relationship with the general consumer. Okay, so I said you could have a long career. And I just also said that you're not going to have a long career in most of the major trade houses. Anybody planning on a 30-year career better also be planning on where else besides a trade house, a general trade house, can I have that career? Because there's a game of musical chairs going on, and every time the music stops, chairs get taken away. Chairs are never added. Okay, and that is the sad reality of life. And and the announcements of, there was one yesterday at Random House, Jenny Frost, 25 years, et cetera, et cetera. I met yesterday in my office with a woman who had been at Pocketbooks for 20 years and is no longer there. This is situation normal going forward. So if you're young, you got to think about that now and not get stuck in that trap, because ultimately there's a very, very small number that are going to be able to rise. So the first thing I would say is the beauty of the internet age and the problem in the internet age is everybody's a publisher. You got a blog, you're a publisher. You got a website, you're a publisher. You're a real estate agent in White Plains doing business with your customers on the web, you're a publisher. But you're not a content creator necessarily. If you're a blogger, you're a content creator after a fashion, right? But you're not a professional at creating content. This room is full of people that are professionals at creating content. And every insurance company and every, you name it, every service, every product, every business is going to need content creation expertise. So that's something very important to keep in mind. And I'm not exactly sure what the career paths are there. In fact, I think most of big companies, they don't even know that they're spending millions of dollars in content creation. It's in this marketing budget, it's in that website budget, it's all over the place, and they're not really thinking about it that way. But I think gradually they will learn to. And that's an opportunity for all of us that know about content creation. Next are going to be new forms of books and new products from book franchises. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean the Baker and Taylor, the new Baker and Taylor system that I talked about in my blog. The new Baker and Taylor system, for those of you who didn't read the blog, is they take a PDF of, let's say, an illustrated book, and they turn around and give you back the book exactly as it was presented in the PDF. But you also get a toolkit. And the toolkit enables you to add in audio, add in video, change the design, do all sorts of things with it. And Baker and Taylor's deal, probably will change over time, but the deal at the moment is it's free. We're the wholesaler. Okay, so when you want to sell this book, it comes from us to wherever it goes, and we collect our cut on each book sold. Now, what that means is that suddenly it is very, very easy to take any book and make it into many books, make it into something other than what you were distributing in print, something that's augmented. Now, the fact is, nobody knows how to do this yet. And anything that's going to be done that nobody knows how to do yet, that's an opportunity. And that's one that I would think that you should really be looking at. You should be thinking about, forget Shatzkin, he's just going to read words on a flat surface. But for all the people that want more than that, what do they want? How do we present it to them? How do we present the book that's for the amateur, the intermediate, and the expert, all in one package by the navigation path and what we select to show them and so forth? There would be a million things to think about. New products from book franchises. Now, where that comes from is partly what I was just saying. The new product is partly the enhanced ebook. But because we're vertical, there are going to be David Baldacci fans, right? And there are going to be lots and lots and lots of them on some David Baldacci website. What are we going to do with this? Are we going to conduct guided tours of Washington where you can see the places in the story that David Baldacci taught? I mean, how are we going to extract more revenue from these fans? I don't have the answers for this yet, okay? And some things are going to work, some things are not going to work. But once again, it's coming, it needs to be invented, and it's not going to be the over 60s that are going to be inventing it, it's going to be the under 35s. Ebook marketing. Ebook marketing is going to change. Right now, ebook marketing is about pretty much the same as regular book marketing. You go to aggregators who sell all the ebooks, Powell's or Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and you sell your ebooks. I don't think it's going to stay that way. I think every website's going to have an ebook store. And it's going to be an ebook store that's going to be customized to the interest of that community. And I think that that's something else, that giving away chapters, giving away ebooks in a way where the chapters can be passed along in some automatic way or some way that allows ordering the book to be automated off the chapter that was given away. So ebook marketing is something that publishers haven't thought about a lot. Up until 2 years ago, ebooks were half of 1% or a third of 1%. It wasn't worth any bandwidth from the top people. Now it's getting, maybe it's 5% or 7%. It's a number. It's worth thinking about. It's on its way to being thinking about a lot more. So this is an area that hasn't really been done, and it needs to be done. The creation of verticals. This is a subject that I could do an hour on, or 2 hours on, or a week on. There are publishers that think